Rutuja, I think we can start after 5 minutes once
Okay,
all the
ma'am.
students have joined.
Okay,
Okay.
ma'am.
We have 5 minutes, right?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Thank you. Rutuja, I have shared a link on
Yes, sir.
WhatsApp. If you can
Okay.
probably play that video sometime when I ask you.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. I'll forward it to Neha, ma'am, so that she can share it because she's the host of the meeting.
That would be
Uh,
that
yeah.
would be good.
Rutuja, I
Neha,
have
ma'am.
made you also host, so you will also be able to do the same.
Actually, ma'am, I'm accessing this particular thing from my mobile, so I'm not very
Acha,
much
okay, then send it
convergent
to me.
sharing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
send it.
I'll share it with you.
Sure, sure, sure.
So Neha, I'll just ask you to play a video if I feel relevant, and maybe you can just play. It's a 3 minute video, not more. 3 to 5 minutes.
Definitely,
That
definitely.
would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So buzz me when you want to start. So in the meantime, I'll just do some of my work.
Sure, sir. Neha, ma'am, I've sent you the video already.
Sure, Rutuja. બલવંતભાઈ અહીંયાનો પંખો કરી આપો ને. Yeah, I think Rutuja can start.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. First of all, very good morning to one and all, and a very warm welcome to the speaker of the day, Mr. Ramesh Sinha, sir. Let me just first introduce you all to Mr. Ramesh
Right.
Sinha. Mr. Ramesh Sinha is a serial entrepreneur with three startups so far, namely Appletech Tendercity, which is no more currently, e-procurement technologies that enables 1 lakh crore worth of procurement every year and has 500 employees. SharkId, which is a social phone book app and a visitors management app under the name of Gate Shark, which has got more than 2.5 million downloads so far. He's currently working on a sports startup called Cult of Happiness, where he intends to set up a society without money or barter. Mr. Sinha is a 49-year-old undergraduate, a bonsai artist, a cyclist, a cynophile who owns two dogs, namely a husky named Kai and a golden retriever named Shiro. And Mr. Sinha is a philanthropist who conducts many social ventures for environment protection, feeding the street children, and he also works for the underprivileged. Thank you so much. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you for your kind words. Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Everyone can speak, right, in this audience?
Yes.
Awesome, right? So here I am today to share my experience of marketing SharkId, which is a social phone book app. SharkId, you can think of SharkId as an app which is something similar to Truecaller, which gives you the caller ID, and it has a unique function which also shows you the mutual friends. So when you receive an incoming call, it will tell you who is calling and whose friend is calling and how many of your friends know that person. So you are more informed as to pick up that call or not, right? So when we launched this application, we got something around 2 million installs in the first 2 years. And that was not easy. We made a hell lot of mistakes. So I think I'll take that opportunity to share some of the mistakes that I have done so that when you are defining your marketing strategy for, what's the app called? Mangalia. Mangalia, right? So when you are working on the marketing strategy to define the strategy for marketing Mangalia app, you don't repeat the mistakes that I have made. So what is the current status right now, if you can share, so that I can accordingly talk about it? If someone can guide. Is it just at the design level? Is it just on paper? Yeah, the app is up and out there, and you have to
Sir, app is already launched. We have to promote that app only.
You have to promote the app, right?
Yes.
The app is launched in Play Store. It's available, but still there are no downloads, no reviews. So
okay. Perfect, right? So the first, there is this beautiful Indian English saying, you might have heard of it, that everyone likes the smell of their own shit, but no one else does, right? Do you agree with it? So if you launch something, you are all excited. So when we launched SharkId, we were all excited. The entire team of 80 people was gung-ho about it, right? Okay, now that we are there on the Play Store, let's start looking at our counter. And the day one passed and nothing happened. The only guys who had installed the app were our employees. So we went back to our families and they said, nee, we don't want one more app. We went back to our friend circle and they said, nee, we will give it a shot. But a week passed by and none of our friends installed the app. So you need to remember, right, that people are very particular. People are very conservative. People are very skeptical, especially about one more app. And no one wants that. People are very skeptical about sharing their data, about their privacy. So the moment you say, I'm out there, you will hit with a wall, right? Now that you have an app on the Play Store, there is this big wall that you will have to cross. Now, how do you go about doing it? So the first thing is, forget about all the things that you would have learned in the college, from the books, from all your faculties, from all your mentors, from all other people. The first thing that you'll have to do is get outside your comfort zone. Go out there and meet the first stranger and try to convince him or her about what is it that Mangalia is all about and why he or she should try it. Can you guys do that? And have you done it, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So if I see a lot of students out here, maybe 50 or 100 odd, right? So if the first thing that you'll have to do is not talk to your friends, not talk to your family members, but talk to your strangers. Talk to strangers. Go out there and convince them. Then you'll realize now those are the users who will be your future. Those users or strangers will be your future users, right? So go out there, talk to them, convince them, and see what are their objections, observations, why they don't want to install, why they want to install, what are the problems that they foresee, what are their beliefs, what are their fears. Once you have all this information collated in one place, then you can frame up a marketing strategy that can help you get more downloads in future, or that can get you downloads on their own, or that will start the cycle, that would start the momentum and the ball would start rolling. So has any installs happened so far?
Yes, sir, of friends and relatives only.
Okay.
Of our friends and relatives.
And how many of them are there?
20 of my side, 20 to 30.
This is like
Even-
total, right? This is total.
Even my side, sir, also 20.
मैं सर काट रहा था फिर क्या करूँ?
Okay, so now have you guys defined what is the goal? What is the numbers you guys are looking at?
Yes.
This is very important, right? So when you are framing up your marketing strategy, you need to have a goal, you need to have a vision in place. What is it that you guys are targeting? We had a very
Sir, we target one day 20 to 25 people downloaded minimum per
Okay.
person.
So in our case, we had our goal posted on our wall that we wanted 1 million installs in the first year. We wanted 5 million installs in second year. We wanted 100 million installs in third year, right? So be bold enough, be daring enough, and go ahead and post a long-term vision, a long-term goal on your wall, right? Wherever you guys are sitting, operating right now in today's environment on your desktops, right? Okay, this is the number as an organization, as a team we are chasing. So the strategy would not be individual centric. The strategy would be team centric. The strategy would be for the entire app. So if you're chasing 1 million users, you'll have to define a strategy for that, right? So so what is that number that you guys are looking at? Because, this number would then help me give you some ideas, share views, share some experience of mine so that you can go ahead and achieve it. 1 million sounds good in the first year? 1 million downloads sounds good in the first year?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, right? So how do we go about that? So initially, if you guys can convince 100 users or 100 users, that's it, 100 active users, right? You don't want a user who will download an app just because you said and will not open the app again. Do you have a provision in the app to track as whether the user is active or not, whether the user is engaging with the application? What are the activities that the user is currently conducting in the app, right? You need a dashboard which will give you this statistics, which will give you this view. If you don't have this view, then there is no point in going ahead. Get this view in place, get this dashboard in place, so that you get to see, do I have 100 active users and are they engaging with the application, and are they buying them? Are they really consuming the content that I have in the app? If you have 100 active users, which you will have to go out there and identify on one-on basis, right? Just because you have convinced a stranger to install an app and he liked your idea, there are good chances that he will start engaging with the app. You will have to then have a strategy in place wherein you get in touch with this 100 users on regular basis, take his feedback, take his observations, find the problem areas that he is encountering, go back to your dashboard, rework on your app, come up with the next version of the app, address those problems, and again, focus on the 100 users and see to it that they are still active, they are still engaging it. The moment you see a drop in the number of engaging active users, you'll have to go out there in the market, get more users, right? This users, need not be someone from your inner circle. This users need not be someone from your friends and families. This user should not be from your relatives and parents, right? This has to be a complete stranger, a guy who has fallen in love with your idea. If you have this 100 set of active users, and if they start consuming the application, if they start engaging with the application for say a period of 3 months, then you have a product you at your hand, which is going to be future rockstar, which is going to be a future big thing. Can you guys do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next strategy should be once you have this 100 active users, right? If you are jotting it down, once you have the active users, you will have to come up with a strategy as how do you make them influencers. Now, everyone right now is connected with at least 2,000 people on social media. They have 1,000 people in their phone book. They have 1,000 email IDs in their email account, right? So if you have 100 users, you're looking at maybe 1 million or users probable marketplace, and they would become your first series of influencers who have actually liked the idea, who have started using it. Now when they are dining out with their friends, you want them to start talking about this Mangalya app. When they are out on the trip, you want them to share this thing. You want them to take pride in sharing this thing on the social media. If your 100 set of active users, right, are not doing it, then there is something wrong with the application, or there is something wrong with the communication that you guys are doing with them. So you'll have to start tracking them. Now, how do you start tracking them? So someone from your circle will have to be friends with them on FB, will have to be friends with them on Insta, will have to be friends with them on LinkedIn, right? Will have to be active with them on WhatsApp. Just 100 users is what you have to manage. What is the team size right now, Rutuja?
4.
Oh.
Four.
As in the
what is
number
the
of
team that is-
participants,
No, what is the team that is working on this idea?
4 in a team,
It's
sir.
a group of 4.
It's a group of 4, right? So you are looking at 25 users each, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's a manageable thing, right? Now you don't want to bombard your active users with daily communication. If you can do that, great. If you can be friends with them, awesome. Do whatever it takes to be on their good books. You can go out and meet them over a cup of coffee. If they are a working professional, you can go out and have a discussion with them in their office. Try to know your users ins and out. I mean, know his age, know his skills, know his hobbies. If he's cycling, you should be his cycling buddy. If he's running, you should be his running buddy, right? You should be after him. And when you go and meet them, you have no sales intent. You just are learning. You have to think in terms of he is my partner, he is my investor, he is my team member. That's the kind of engagement you should be having with this set of active users. If they start talking about it, the world will listen, because now you have a stranger who is not an equity holder, who is not a partner, who is not an owner of this app, but has genuinely liked an idea and is promoting it. Pardon? Someone said, okay. If you can do that, then with some social media campaign that you can do, with some paid advertisement, if you guys have money, you can do that. With some ATL, BTL campaigns that you can do that at a low budget cost. And with the set of active first series of influencers, this active users, you should now be targeting 8,000 users to go ahead and try the app. There is a provision in the App Store. This is a Play Store app, or it's also there on iOS?
No.
No,
No,
it's a Play Store app.
Play Store.
Android.
So you can do a geofencing, right?
Yes.
So if you do a geofencing, and since you're looking at the first set of influencer, try to geofence your app to just Ahmedabad, right? A. Or B, there is a beta provision available. So give access to only beta app, so that only this predefined set of 100 users can download an app and install it. Don't look at any other numbers. Once you are convinced, once this set of 100 active users are convinced, and you see them active on your application on daily basis, or whatever is your metrics, right? Now, most of the apps are rated on the basis of monthly active users. But if you look at apps like Facebook, WhatsApp, Gmail, they are on daily active users, right? Which is
Yeah.
called DAO, MAO, TAO, and all those things. So if you look at your DAO, which is our daily active users, you should be, and you can define that, then would be the time to open the app. Again, you are not looking at users who are from the different territories, right? Different regions. For example, you don't want a Tamilian to install the app and to realize that this app is in Hindi. That's a bad user experience that you will be giving out, right? So you will then in the phase 2, since you're looking at say 1,000 users, Ahmedabad is a bigger market for you to easily get 1,000 users or even 10,000 users. So again, the app is geofence. You're not looking at a very huge target numbers. It is feasible. In the next phase, when you have this influencers talking about it, and when you start your social media campaign, when you start your ATL, BTL campaigns, again geofence to Ahmedabad. So the benefit of it would be that you can always talk to them, they can always call you, you can always meet them, you can drop in, they can drop in into your office. If you have an exhibition, they can go and attend that exhibition, right? And you can invite them over and meet them on one-to-one basis. You can do all kind of this jugglery. If they are from Ahmedabad, chances are they'll speak Gujarati, and then you can converse with them in Gujarati, right? So those benefits would come in. Try to see as how do you make this 100,000, I mean 100 users or 1,000 users or 2,000 users again active. Work on that strategy. When we launched SharkId, it's a phone book app. So though it was a caller ID application which used to tell you that who is calling and whose friend is calling, we wanted users to play with the application. We wanted users to actually use the application to make call. We wanted users to replace their phone book with SharkId app. So what we did was we ran a campaign wherein we incentivized on making calls. So while the application was running in the background on receiving calls, we changed the habit and then started making people understand that why it is much more convenient in making calls from the application. As a result, at one point of time, we had 1 lakh calls happening on daily basis from the application, SharkId, which jumped to 1 million calls happening on daily basis from the SharkId app. Mind you, this is again in a very controlled group, right? So since it's your application, you can do that. So try to target in the phase 2, maybe 1,000 or 10,000 users, again geofence, and see how does it work.
Yeah.
So that's the phase 2 part of it. In the phase 3, you should be looking at now opening up, right? So you can remove the geofence, and if the app is targeting India as whole, try to geofence the app to India as whole, so that you don't want any Pakistani, Iranian, Bangladeshi to install an app and have a bad user experience, right? Again, SharkId is geofence to India as of now because we are not ready as of yet to open ourselves to the global market. At the same time, we don't want people from other countries to see our app and copy and make a duplicate of it and then run a marketing strategy and grow bigger than us, because that particular market is not on our focus. So depending on your bandwidth, you can then define, okay, if I'm doing Gujarat for the first 6 months, then my next phase, I'll take Uttar Pradesh, I'll take Maharashtra, I'll take Rajasthan. So you can still go ahead and geofence for those territories. Have a bigger target now. Maybe look at 100,000 users installing the app. Now, when you're looking at 1,000, 100,000, 1 lakh users installing the app, of course, you will have crunch in terms of you will not have the enough bandwidth to address it, right? So you're looking at a lot of automation process. You're looking at chatbots in place. You're looking at a full-fledged website in place. You're looking at blogs in place. You're looking at other third-party influencers coming on board, joining us, right? You're looking at bloggers talking about your application. You're looking at individual influencers who don't know you, I mean, or you don't know them because they are in lakhs. So it would not become feasible for you to be active or interact with each and every users, right? So you'll have to run some campaign. You'll have to have some strategy in place wherein you can address this neo influencers and who will be in thousands, and then start talking about your applications on different platforms. if that happens, now the wave would, now you should be ready for the next wave, which will then get you millions of downloads, right? Provided tens and thousands of people are talking about it, engaging with the app, sharing the application, recommending it, strongly recommending it, and then building a network on your platform. So liking an idea is one thing, but then if you have a provision where you build a network. So in SharkId app, which is a phone book, we picked up a concept from Facebook where you can add friends, where you can share cards, where you can like cards, where you can give them a thumbs up. So you'll have to work on those strategies where, apart from content, what is it that they are doing on your application, right? The Facebook is not about pictures and sounds and news clips and news bites. Facebook is about the thousands of friends that we have. This connection that is there on the Facebook or any other social media is not there anywhere else on the planet. And hence it becomes very difficult for an active user to walk out of this network, right? They would want to stay invested because now they have input enough energy and build a network. Now the moment they decide to quit the application, they'll have to leave behind the network. So in your application, what is it that that will cause this network effect, or that will cause this, that will be the need to create the network on your platform? So for example, yours is comics, right? So can you comment on the comics? Can you share the comics? Can you give them a thumbs up? Can you make an avatar? Can you take a selfie with the comical characters and post it on the platform? Allow this thing to happen, right? So every time a user engages, he is leaving behind his digital asset or a digital footprint on your application and a small digital asset. A comment that I have made, I need that comment to be with me. It's a memory of mine, right? If I have uploaded a picture, I need to see that. If some of my friends have posted some comments on the strip that I have shared, then I need that to be with me. And for that to happen, I need to have an app installed in my phone book. So can you then think in terms of creating utilities which will allow this social third-party content to be generated? The third-party content can be maybe allow your users to tweak the characters, allow your users to have a different ending, allow your users to paint the characters. Since it's a manga is mostly black and white, you can allow them to play with it, allow them to have an Indian version. I mean, there can be 10,000 reasons. I mean, 10,000 ways to think, to be in a position to create content on your platform. And if your users start a practice of posting content, then they will invariably, as a result, get the reply from their network, right? So every time the notification goes up, the user will open an app, right? And he'll start engaging more and more and more, like what we do with Insta, Facebook, Google, so on and so forth. Once you have that, then you can rest back. Then you don't have to do anything. The momentum has started and the campaign is successful. The world is ready to join, right? Now, people who are not part of this network will be the guys who will be left out. So you have this concept of FOMO, fear of missing out. So then they will want to be part of this whole activity, this application, and try it out. And then you will see a spike, a real spike in terms of downloads that would be happening. So now how serious you guys are in terms, it's just a project you have have you guys defined, or has the mandate been given to you guys in terms of you have to get certain downloads by so and so time?
Yes, we have given a choice of making 100 plus downloads till the date of 6th September.
Okay. So I I wouldn't really agree to this brief because what I just say, right? So maybe you will want to go back to your whosoever is the app owner and tell them that let us look at 100 active users. And if you want to look at 100 active users, it can take 3 months to 6 months time, depending on how what kind of time you guys commit, right? And how easy or difficult it is to get those 100 users. You speak to 10 people, probably you will get 1 or 2 guys to test your application, and out of that 1 or 2 guys who test your application, one of them would go back, quit, uninstall the app. The other guy would go ahead and install the app, right? So it would be slightly difficult for you to really get 100 installs. If you do a social media campaign, for example, if you give some incentive, right, you can get installed right now. So there was a phase wherein the max installs that we got in a single day was 29,000 applications. 29,000 people installed SharkId in a single day. There was a spike. So you can get those spikes. And this spike we got from 500 installs a day, 15 days back, to 28,000 installs a day in a span of 15 days. So you can get those set of users to try it out. We ran a campaign because we wanted to build our phone book. We wanted to build a social network, right? Right now we are sitting on a database of 50 crore, 500 million mobile numbers in our network. And this network has its own network effect, right? To get those users, we had to run a strategy to get n number of installs on our platform, n number of users, random users to try SharkId. Just install the app, give us their phone book and walk out, right? So 29,000 people used to install the app, and the next day 28,000 users used to get out, uninstall the app. But that was the strategy that we are looking at. You need to define as what is it that you will get when you get this 100 random users. So the right strategy should be get 100 active users. Now to get 100 active users, it has to be on one-on-one basis. It cannot be through a social media campaign. It's not sustainable. This is as per my experience, and I may be wrong, but it's definitely not sustainable. In long term, people will try it app, install it, and then walk away and never use it. Or now that we have phones with 8 GB, 16 GB, 100 GB hard disk space, space is not a constraint. Anyone can download your 10 GB, 10 MB, 20 MB app, keep it there and forget about it and never open it, right? So you need to figure out at how do I make myself available in the first screen. In our case, it was a phone book. You had to make call, you had to receive call. Everyone does that on daily basis, on hourly basis. And hence, for 10,000s of people, we ended up becoming the icon on the first screen, on the home screen. If your icon is there somewhere in the screen 2, screen 3, or in the app library, it's gone. Like no one would give it a shot. So rethink about this 100 installs. Think in terms of 100 active users. So delist your app. Don't delist your app in a sense. Go under the beta mode. Allow only beta users to sign up. So you convince a user, then add his email ID into the beta network, and then when he tries to log in, Google will allow him to install the app automatically. No other person should be allowed to do that. Any other challenge that you guys are facing?
Sir, in this COVID scenario, how would be the advertisement can be done?
So probably use your friends network to get there. Try to find who does a campaign, or you can run a campaign who likes magazine or who like comics, right? You can run a campaign with some of the characters of the comic on social media and see how many people like it. See how many people comment on it. Maybe run a quiz. Don't tell them to install the app. Try to create that inquisitiveness in the users, random users, and then take on one-on-one basis with them. Those people who reply, take on one-on-one basis with them, explain them the whole concept. If you have a video, share that video, and then see if they are willing to give it a shot, right? If they do, add it to your beta network, then allow them to download the app. So you have the characters, the manga characters, the one I saw on internet are beautiful creations, right? In terms of the art, it's like refined art. So you can use some of those caricatures, use some of those pictures and run a social campaign around it and see how many people respond to it. But before you run a campaign, you'll have to define your audience, right? You'll have to define the age group, gender, education, skills, location, hobbies, anything and everything. You just don't run a random campaign on internet, on social media. So if you guys have defined that, then run a campaign, see how many of them respond back, And since you're looking at 100, 200 users, should not be a challenge at all. Anything else?
Sir, how to generate revenue through advertisement space selling?
So, okay. So monetization in terms of in context to Google, just a sec. So if you get something like 1,000 views of a banner, you will get something close to 10 cents. Now 10 cents would be 7 rupiah. So every time a banner is viewed 1,000 times, you make 10 cents. Now, unless you make $500, it cannot be reimbursed. You got it? So that's a different challenge. So to get $500, you'll have to multiply this by what? Anyone who is good at maths can do some random calculation here.
5,000.
Pardon? No, not
10
5,000.
cents. 10 cents into 5,000 is equal to $500.
Okay. 5,000 what?
We get 10 cents for 1,000 views, correct?
Huh.
So those 1,000 views you need to have 5,000 times. Then and then you will get $500 in
So
total.
5,000 into 10,000. What is the views?
5,000 into 1,000.
What is
That's
that number?
around 50 lakhs.
50 lakh. That's 5 million views. If you can get 5 million views of an advertisement, and now then you get to see, you get to make revenue, right? And it has to be unique. It has to be non-adulterated. So if you consume the same banner again and again and again, Google will discount it off. You're getting the point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we had at one point of time, we had something around close to 1 million views every day. And we could still not make more than $20, $30 a day. So if you have 1 million banner views and you are getting $20, $30 a day, what do you do? So we decided to check out the Google AdSense and removed it from our platform. So we are no more ad-based revenue platform. So you'll have to be creative as why would users pay? The Facebook does get a big chunk of money from the ad it runs on its own, and it doesn't run a third-party ad network like Google, for example, right? So you'll have to come up with your own ad network, and then you'll have to compete with the likes of Google's. So I gave you the current number of metrics, right? 1,000 views, 1,000 unique views will get you $7, 7 rupiah. That means 1,000 active users looking at a banner will get you $7. If that number excites you, welcome to the world of ad currency. If not, then you'll have to figure out a way as why would user pay. So you can think of users in terms of, can my user pay as for a subscription, right? There are a lot of apps which are subscription based. What does a manga comic cost? Typically the hard version.
No, ma'am, this app is totally free for every user.
I got it. What does a manga magazine cost? The paperback edition. Have you figured that out?
No, sir.
Huh? Nahin? What will it be? 50 rupees, 100 rupees, 200 rupees? I don't know. Hello. So if you have active users, then they'll start paying you for it, right? And those active users can pay you $1,000 as an annual subscription fee to get access to unlimited magazines or comics that you have in your network, right? Or in your app. Now that revenue model is an exciting revenue model to have. Once you reach 100 million active users, then definitely you can rethink in terms of bringing in Google network into place and have a ad-based thing. The pay per click model is far more effective, right? So if you have those 100 million users, you can then command maybe 10,000, 20,000 clicks happening. Now those clicks would get you more revenue. You have a lead generation program that is happening. So lead generation programs are even far more revenue generating. For example, if you run a Citibank ad and if you generate a lead for Citibank, they will give you 500 rupees per lead. Now for that to happen, you will have to find what is the success ratio. So out of 1000 banners that I run on my app, how many of them will result into click? And out of the people who run click on the banner, how many of them will end up filling up a form, right? And if they fill up the form, how many of them end up as a genuine user or a genuine prospect? If it's a genuine prospect, then Citibank can give you $700, $500 for one single lead. A Geo can give you $250 for its dongle. A lot of banks, a lot of insurance companies can give you good amount of money, 100 rupees, 150 rupees per lead. But even for that to happen, you need at least 1 million banner views happening in your app on daily basis. So then you can look at something a decent amount, in a sense 1000 into 100 or 1000 into 2000 rupees or 2 lakh rupees coming in on daily basis in ad currency or ad revenues or ad based revenues, right? Got it? So the 100 users or 200 users or 1000 users or 10,000 users, don't even think in terms of integrating third party banners. What will happen is the initial users will get pissed by looking at this unsolicited banners running in the app, right? They have come to consume the comic strip. Allow them to do that without any hurdle. Okay, go. Anything else? So how many of you really like this idea? How many of you want to go ahead and make a career out of it? Out of the 4 guys who are working, the 4 guys who are part of the team, can they give me a shout out?
Sir, actually, it's a competition for all the students from marketing and all those
Acha,
who have
acha.
participated. So
okay.
it's 4 per group, and there are multiple groups.
Okay. Right. So I guess you can definitely look at 500,000 or 1 million download to happen, provided you build an active user base. So whatever strategy you guys are working, think in terms of how can I get this 100,000, 10,000 active users. Build a strategy around that. Once those 1,000 users come in place, 10,000 users come in place, the rest would be easy. Then you don't even have to scratch your brains. It will have the network effect, right? What happened with WhatsApp? WhatsApp started off as a status bar application, right? It still has this status application feature in the application, but then it ended up evolved as a chat app. So we started off as a phone book, we ended up as a social network, and then we diversified into a gate management, visitor management application, right? So the direction, future course is unknown territory. Let the users who are going to consume your app, going to use the app, define. So you'll have to work with them. What is it that they like? And change the strategy as we move forward. The current strategy that you should be looking at is getting those active users. Now, let me tell you, the moment like we have this millions of installs, but if you go to Google, it will also give you the statistics at how many of them have uninstalled the application. When you go to a VC to pitch an app, they will only look at how many active users are there. So while we have millions of users, our active users are in tens and thousands, right? So when you want to get funded, you will only get paid for this active users. You will not get paid for the free users who tested the application. So what is the time that the each user is spending in your application? That can be monetized, that can be funded. Who are the active users? That can be funded. So right from the day one, stay focused on creating this active user base. And it's not that difficult, right? You just have to believe in it and get into it. The only problem is 99.99% doesn't work. You need to give 100%. If you can do that, you will succeed. If you can't do that, then you are one out of billions of apps that are there in the market, right? It is far more competitive than a website world right now, because no one wants to go to your website, right? There are a handful of social media platforms available, and then there are Play Stores, right? The Google has billions of apps. Every year, every month, Google will remove close to 1 million apps from its Play Store. Because every month the Google comes up with a new strategy, new compliances in terms of ensuring the privacy and the protection of the data. So the moment they upgrade, you will have to upgrade your technology. I would say instead of investing in the application, the first step should be to have a web-based platform where people can consume your strips. Even better, go for a Facebook-based platform and build a user base on Facebook. Launch your comics on Facebook, launch your comic on Insta, launch your comics on your website. And if you see at least 100 or 1,000 users actively consuming it, then invest in an app. Developing an app is a huge expense, trust me. So don't even go ahead and propose of doing that. The minimum viable product should be, let us do it on social media. If we get 10,000 active users, we will invest some money and have a website. If we get 1,000, 10,000 active users on our website, we will then go ahead and invest in Google app. If we get active users in Google app, we will then invest in iOS, right? So as you progress, the expense will keep going on. So the tech expense is huge, because the moment you say ask a user to install an app, there is this Google, right? They will give you a 10,000 checklist to be complied with before the app is made live on the platform. At one point of time, after crossing 2 million installs, the Google overnight, without any notice, removed our app from the Play Store. And then they reached out, they didn't even bother to reach out to us. We reached out to them. After a week, they came back and gave us a checklist. Okay, comply this if you want the app to be active. So this is the market you are playing in. Now, no one can do that for your website. No one would do that for your social page unless the content is obscene or anti-national, right? But Google on its own can do it. iOS on its own can do it, right? They would not need anyone's confirmation. They'll say it does not comply with our compliance checklist, and they'll remove it overnight. So I would recommend that the strategy that you guys are trying to build, do a MVP with social media, or even better, if you can print, go for a hard copy. I mean, which is not acceptable right now, but if you can go for a hard copy, that would be even great thing to have. If you have 100 subscribers for your magazine or a comic book, then launch a social media, then launch a website, then go for app. I would suggest that. Anything else I can help you with?
But sir, right now distributing hard copies will be like quite difficult.
Every day millions of newspapers are being circulated. I don't see that as a problem. Every day thousands of posts are being circulated, courier are being delivered. I don't see that as a problem at all.
Yeah, it can be along with the newspaper. Yes,
it can be along with anything, right?
Yeah.
So you'll have to innovate, right? The best way to do that is, I don't know, so you guys have to come up with 100 ideas. Write down 100 ideas to promote this application. Write down 100 ideas to promote this idea. Once you have written down 100, 1 to 100, right? Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
It
Yes,
would become
definitely.
impossible. After you list down your 10 ideas, it would become impossible. Maybe you will succeed in listing 20, 30, 40, 50. At some point of time, you will give up, though you guys are confirming and giving a consent right now. You will, it's humanly not possible to list 100 different unique ideas to promote, right? All you have to do is get together and list crazy ideas. So what can be crazy idea? It can be freely distributed with newspaper, or you can add 1 rupee note or 100 rupee note with each magazine and distribute, right? Come up with crazy ideas. If you can define 100 crazy ideas, then you have a product that you can easily sell. I don't think then you will face any problem in terms of getting those 100 active users or 100 subscribers or 100 followers on Facebook or Instagram. So you'll have to be very creative in terms of it. The problem is we accept the first idea that comes to us as a great idea and we start working on it. I would say list down 100 ideas and start working on the 101st idea that you get. So by that time, most of the contenders, the early great ideas would have been knocked off from the strategy. And that will get you a sure shot, easy way to get 100 active users or 1,000 active users, or get the desired momentum. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, and then you need a right team, because the moment you look at an application, it's pure technology. It's pure marketing. So no other skill sets are required. So you have a marketing team that will think of creative ideas to reach out to the masses, and then you will have a tech team that will gear up and prepare the application so that tomorrow, if you have an influx of 10,000s of installs, the app doesn't pushes your server down, right? So you'll have to scale. So you'll have to prepare and start coding, assuming you will have 1,000 active users or 10,000 active users or 1,00,000 active users. Now with every degree, the computation power goes up, the cost goes up. So I have a huge cost in terms of my just hosting cost. My hosting cost is huge, right? And so 60%, 30%, 40% of your overall expense will go in the data center when you think of an app. The remaining 60% is your salaries, mostly salaries and administration. You can't think of a app to be sold like soap, right? So you don't need door-to-door salesman for it. You don't need a retail network for it.
Sir, you are not audible.
Oops, sorry. So the application cannot be sold, right? You don't need a sales network for it. It has to be marketing, DIY model. People will like your content, they'll subscribe it. You can't push them. You can't reach out to them. Like if you have a complaint, can you go back to Facebook and chat with someone? You can't. They are least bothered as what is the next feature you want. They have their own internal marketing team working on ideas, interacting with, doing surveys, looking at competition and developing the new feature. They don't need your feedback, right? The same with WhatsApp. If you have some problem or suggestion for WhatsApp, they are just not open for any ideas, any suggestions from your side, from the user side, right? Because the team is big enough, is intelligent enough, is experienced enough, and they know the pulse of the market, and they are thinking in terms of what is it that they want to roll out in future. So all you need is a marketing team and a tech team. Provided you have this 1,000 active users, you can then start building on the back end and get the app rolling and get the desired result. So it will start with maybe 100 users, 1,000 users, 10,000 users, and then the next iteration, you will get there in a 1,000,000 user group easily without spending much money, right? I guess that's it. Rutuja, can you play that video? Just to get inspired, I would like you guys to see this video, right? How do you create a momentum?
Yeah, Neha ma'am, can you please play that video?
Yeah, give me a moment, I'll do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So while you should have a very ambitious goal in terms of millions of users, you should stay focused and grounded in terms of active users. You know, this is the point I want you guys to understand clearly. A one active user is worth in gold. Okay.
Sir, my internet is little slow.
That's okay.
So just I'll take 2 minutes.
Okay. Can I share it? Hello, can I share?
I think you'll be able to share it.
Disabled hai. If someone can look into it.
No, I have enabled it, sir.
Okay, just a sec. Can you see?
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and
No, sir, we
No, sir,
can't
dissect.
it's
see
not
video.
No,
visible.
sir.
Just a
First, of
sec.
course,
We
a
have
leader
not
needs the
shared the
guts to
screen.
stand alone and
We
look
can hear the
ridiculous.
video, sir, but
But
we
what
cannot
he's
Just a
doing
sec.
is so
Just a sec.
simple, it's almost
Yeah.
instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes
This is
the first
visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Now
sir.
it is.
Okay.
in
Yes, sir.
and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost learned a lot about leadership and making a movement easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with learned a lot about leadership and making a movement. And let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore, it's the spark, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. It takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out and you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut and it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point, and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. And over the next minute, you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is over-glorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
So you guys got it right? So what I have been emphasizing, get those active users in place and you are all sorted. And you have a rocking product on hand. I don't know where this is playing, but still. Okay. Anything else? You have some questions, guys? Hello? Rutuja, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
We can all hear you.
So you saw the video. Maybe if you want, Rutuja can share the link with you guys. Get inspired by it. Just look at your first followers, look at your first active 100 users, and you're sorted. Then you don't have to worry. Just spoon feed them. See to it that every demand that they have is addressed, right? And if they like the product, they'll start promoting it like crazy. And then all you have to do is step back and watch the network grow. Watch the installs happen. It should happen automatically. So while we are discussing here, probably 1,000+ installs would have happened by now in the last 1 hour for SharkId, right? Without we running any social campaign, without we doing anything else. It's like people like it, they share it. People like it, they share it. Every time someone is making a call, if he likes the product, he tells the other guy, okay, I made a call from SharkId and this is an amazing application, give it a shot. Let me refer you. So he'll open WhatsApp, share a referral link to him, and his his problem is sorted. His phone book is taken care of because he has his own interest, right? The same has to happen in your application. The same has to happen for any idea for that matter. So that's it, Rutuja. If you want, if there are any specific questions, I can help.
Yeah. Are there any questions, students?
Okay, then thanks for your time, right? You can always reach out to me. Rutuja can share my credentials, phone number and email ID. And looking forward to speak to you guys again. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Loved it.
Sir, thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us, and thank you so much for all the information regarding app marketing with us. It was such an informative session, sir, and even like we learned so much from you today, sir. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Bye bye. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Over to you, Neha ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful insights. That would be enlightening and it will help students to build their strategy. Thank you so much, all the faculty members and to all the students. The next session, the next mentoring session today is at 3 o'clock. So all the students, please join that link at sharp 3. Thank you once again.